Who, what, when, where, how, and why. A recap of me at 28. Hi, my name is Michael. Next week, I start my new job as an environmental specialist with the city and county of San Francisco. I'm 28 and change, as this video is a little late, and I'm at a time when I'm starting to consider what my long term career might look like. I still live in the Bay, though I think I've moved maybe 3 times since the last video. And honestly, I feel pretty amazing as of late. With COVID being the backdrop of last year, good news tends to feel great just in comparison. But even with that, I feel like the place I'm at in my life is very meaningful and fulfilling right now. I'm super, super stoked about this new job, and Sarah has heard about this endlessly. And we have 2 dogs who are wonderful, yappy bundles of joy who return the love we give them tenfold. So life is pretty good right now. And while I'm excited, I'm still generally wary about what my life is shaping up to be. With COVID last year, I spent a lot of time working on myself. Figuring out who I was, who I want to be, and what that ultimately means. And in hindsight, when I look at these questions I've been asking myself for a couple of years now, it really becomes very bland. All I've done is I've hit a checklist of an elevator pitch, so to speak, of what my accomplishments are. And that doesn't really take into account what my values are, or who I think I am in the greater scheme of my humanity and my community. Because in a bigger picture sense, I have some pretty strong opinions on the dismal funding of public education, or the widespread gentrification that's happening, or has technically already happened, in many of our major cities. The lack of compassion and meaningful support for people who are struggling with their mental health, the ever increasing seasonal disasters that come with global warming. And I mean, these topics are just off the cuff and they haven't even really discussed or even gotten to a head the gender and racial inequalities and the movements that have come up this last year and what my stance is. Right? None of that is captured in how I've previously looked at myself or described myself, so to speak. It was being in COVID and coming out of it and realizing that this is the engagement that I really find value in, that I really, really like in my cohort with the people I'm close with, right? Because these are some pretty intense discussions in a lot of ways. And these are the big picture discussions that on the whole really affect, our society and how the world is going to continue to change. Right? That the give and take of these discussions ends up hopefully resulting in us coming up with ways that we can enact meaningful change in the small parts of the world that we exist in and the small cohort of people that we interact with in order to continue to drive society towards hopefully making better strides for the future. Ultimately, I mean, this is a lot to unpack, and there's not enough time ever to talk about these things, and life continues to move on, and there are bills to pay. So I don't know. For me, this year was a lot of introspection and being able to really figure out what makes me tick and what I really like about things. And I can only hope to continue taking all that energy that I've accumulated over this last year of staying inside and using it to help motivate myself and my peers to continue to do the best we can, to look outside of just ourselves and see how we can really help one another on the whole. So that said, that's kind of a lot to unpack, and I realize I've been doing this regularly since I was 23, but technically, this actually wasn't the first video. When I graduated high school, I asked my friends at the time to document what their hopes and dreams were for themselves at 28, and it's funny and it's particularly cringeworthy for me, but I've included my portion to wrap this up because I always want to leave with some lightheartedness in these videos. If nothing else, I hope it makes you laugh because looking back at 18-year-old Mikey Bybee definitely, definitely got a laugh out of me. So I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy. And I'll see you when I see you. Take care, friends. Hey guys, it's me, Mikey, and in 10 years, I hope to have a city or county job in urban development. And through this job, I hope to have implemented green technologies across schools in the city. By this time, I hope to have owned a house. Maybe not my last house, but definitely by now my first house. And hopefully, I have found the means how, if not the means to quite yet, of implementing effective use of mass transit across Southern California, if not all of California. Thanks.